Yes!
He's walking with me.
I can depend on you.
I've been doing a lot of thinking about why I've been invited by a vet practice in Cornwall to go and do a stint there. And I think I've just worked it out. This may be Britain's answer to Bondi. Just a little bit older. Same number of poms though.
Chris is on the south coast of England in the seaside town of Newquay in Cornwall. He's been invited by vets Peter Murrish and Philip Harris to work as a locum at the Penmallen Vet Clinic.
Hello, how are you?
How are you doing? All right?
Yeah, good. So, what have you got lined up for me? You've been saving the special cases, haven't you?
We've got a fair few for you.
Okay.
You're gonna love them.
There you go, sweetheart.
This busy coastal practice looks after both domestic and farm animals.
We've got a fair few things planned for Chris. Certainly some cases that he won't have experienced from back home in Australia. He should find that it's quite an exciting time over here with us, and it'll be an experience he won't forget.
Chris has hardly settled in before Philip gives him his first patient.
Hi Chris, all right?
Hey, mate.
Yeah, got a call for you.
Yeah?
Calf, the swelling in the umbilical region, for one of my really good dairy farmers. I'd like you to go and have a look at it if that's okay.
Okay. He's really good, as in really valued to you and your practice.
He's one of the best farmers in the county, if not the country.
Okay, look after him is the brief.
Exactly. Take care.
Thanks, mate. So, a calf with a lump sounds fairly straightforward, but country people have a way of, well, understating things. So, either the calf isn't small, or the lump isn't. How you going? I'm Chris.
All right, I'm Paul.
Hey, Paul, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
All right, so don't laugh, all right?
You're cold, are you?
Freezing. So what's going on? You got one of these little
Yeah,
heifers?
so I rang surgery out this morning. There's this calf there that wasn't eating, and she's very agitated.
Okay.
She has got a lump there, which seems to got bigger. It's come down more, so that's affecting her, I think.
Okay.
It's 4-month-old Walnut that dairy farmer Paul is worried about.
You can see he's got the lump there. It's got worse over the last couple of days.
It's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
The moment I walk into the pen, there's no mistaking the problem. Just looking at that, Paul, I mean, it could be a number of different things. I mean, she could have a growth there, she could have an abscess.
Yeah.
It could be a hernia, but you know, for me the worry is the fact that she's off of food today. With lumps like that, you usually have time, but if she's not well today, then...
That's right, something needs to be done sooner rather than later.
Exactly. The thing about any cow is you can't just walk up to them and ask politely to feel between their legs. It doesn't really work that way. So we are going to need to push her into a corner, hold her there while I'll take Walnut's temperature, because that'll tell me straight away whether we're dealing with an infection here or something else entirely. Okay, so that's normal, which is interesting. I guess it makes something like an abscess a little less likely.
Yeah.
Doesn't explain why we're seeing what we're seeing though. All right, let's have a little feel. So it's right down the middle, which is interesting. It's quite soft. So the fact that I can put my hand in there, get rid of that.
Big hole there.
Yeah, so I think she's got a hernia.
Hernia, yeah.
A hernia is really a hole in the body wall, and it doesn't sound too serious, but the issue is that things can then fit through the hole and cause these lumps. The real danger with a hernia like Walnut has is that it's very easy for a bit of intestine to sneak through and then get stuck, lose its blood supply, and all of a sudden, she could be dead in hours.
Well, we need to get her sorted out sooner rather than later, don't we? So what do you suggest, taking her up to the surgery or? Yeah.
I'd love to be able to tell Paul that this hernia will actually find a way to fix itself, but going on the fact it's grown so much over the last few days and Walnut isn't well today, it's not going to happen. She needs an operation and she needs it now.
I'll go.
Chris needs to urgently transport the calf back to the clinic for life-saving surgery.
I'll go. There you go. Go on, there you go. There you go.
Operating on cows is always something that, as a vet, you become a little bit worried about because there are so many things that could go wrong. Obviously, you have the anaesthetic risk, but on top of that, cows can so easily get bloated during the procedure. If that happens, we could lose Walnut.
Good girl. Good girl.
Chris is at the Penmelon Vet Clinic in the UK, where he's about to perform life-saving surgery on 4-month-old Walnut.
A little bit of a sleep, sweetheart.
The calf has a massive hernia growing out of her stomach, and it needs to be removed urgently.
Usually where a cow falls asleep is where she stays, but thankfully we've got a hoist, and that means I can actually get Walnut into the exact position I need for the surgery. Obviously removing the hernia here is the main priority, but at the same time, with any cow anaesthetic, you have to be so conscious of two things. First of all, they produce saliva constantly, so unless you're getting rid of it, they can essentially drown in their own saliva. But also, they produce a lot of gas. If that gas doesn't get released, they can bloat, essentially blow up like a big balloon, and that can kill them.
Vet Peter Murrish has the critical role of anaesthetising the calf and monitoring her vital signs. He has to ensure that Walnut's airways remain unobstructed.
Right, nicely asleep. We use an inflated tube and we keep their head low so that any saliva drains out to stop the calf from drowning. Fairly well settled at this end.
She's at a nice level.
Yep, she's doing well.
Yeah.
Breathing and happy.
Right for me to start?
Yep, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm really at the moment just trying to make a few cuts just to get a bit of an outline about where we're trying to focus this operation and hopefully get in and around where this hernia is. So the key is now just to cut essentially around the hole, remove what's been sticking out and then stitch it back together. But the problem is it's been out for long enough now, it's starting to all stick together and everything's a bit inflamed, so breaking all this down is going to take a bit of work. I'm really focusing on trying to get through this surgery as quickly as possible, but each time I look over to Pete, he seems worried, and I know why he's worried. I can hear the sound that he's concerned about. That crackling sound could mean that Walnut is starting to have some fluid build up in the lungs.
There is now enormous pressure on Chris to remove the hernia and get Walnut off the operating table as soon as possible.
And there we have it. Okay, so looking around, I'm pretty happy we've managed to get rid of all the nasty tissue. We're only left with healthy stuff, so now it's time to close her up. That's the last of the stitches there. Ready to wake her up.
Fantastic.
As soon as the surgery's finished, the first priority is to try to lift Walnut up so we can try to drain any extra saliva out through her mouth.
She's quite dry there, so that's good.
Not much fluid coming out?
No.
So now she's going to come down onto her side, and from there we hope that she wakes up nice and quickly.
She'll sit up.
Walnut's woken up in world record time and seems like she's in a hurry to get back to the farm.
Good girl.
Well done.
Excellent.
Girl. Well done.
That's what we like.
Look at you go. That's what I like to see.
Absolutely.
Let's just check. Yep, stitches are still intact. That's really what I like to see.
That's the recovery. The city vet, he did very well.
All right, we'll see you back on the farm, okay? Good girl.
Walnut will go home with her owner Paul later this afternoon. But there's no rest for the Aussie vet, with his next patient, Caramel the duck, demanding his attention.
She's ripped her foot. It's the webbing that she's cut, and we show her, so it's quite vital that we try and get it to knit back together.
Clara's here, duck.
She was missing her friend.
When I walk out into the waiting room, I see a lady trying to corral a duck into a cage. This one's not going to be straightforward. And who's this?
Caramel.
And what's the problem with Caramel?
She's caught her web foot
Oh, she has too.
in some wire.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent tear, isn't it?
Yeah. We show her, and it is quite important if something can be done with that. Otherwise, you know, we won't be able to show her anymore.
When you say you show her, she's a showgirl. Does the country show
Yes,
circuit?
she has. She's the best caramel call duck in Great Britain.
Really?
Yeah.
So how far off is her next show?
A month. That's the Royal Cornwall show.
That's a big deal.
Yes.
Repairing a tear in the webbing of a duck's feet is already enough of a challenge. Without this being a champion duck just 4 weeks away from the biggest show of the year. Whew. This is a big ask. How do you feel about me using tissue glue to stick that wound back together?
Yeah.
My plan centres around the fact that almost every vet clinic has something called tissue glue. It's like medical super glue. It's normally used in complicated internal surgeries to stick organs back together. But in this situation, it could be spot on. The first step is I'm going to need to clean that wound there.
Good girl. Good girl. Good girl.
When I look closely at the wound, it's already started to heal. And the fact is that scars pushed up against scars simply won't stick together. So I need to actually remove those by making tiny little cuts.
After a local anaesthetic, the radical procedure begins.
Okay, so we're going to now start to stick that foot back together.
Brilliant.
While my idea of doing this procedure on the stainless steel table should reduce the risk of me sticking her foot to the table, there is a flaw. If I get blood between her foot and the table, the glue will stick. Just want to make sure there's no blood on the
Underneath.
foot, because that glue only sets when it comes into contact with biological materials. You're doing good. You are. So I'm just going to put some pressure on her toes just so she doesn't move those. The glue's finally looking like it has set, so it's time to inspect whether it's worked. So let's just very gently.
It's not stuck to the table, is it?
There's a problem. The foot isn't moving off the table.
It's stuck, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit stuck. I've managed to glue the British champion call duck's foot to a stainless steel table.
The one thing you don't want to do is stick a foot to the table, but I think we've managed to do that.
Thankfully, I'm confident I can unstick Caramel's foot from the table using the blunt end of a scalpel. I've never had to do this before. Just going to slide that underneath it.
Okay, we're free.
It's a lot better.
Yeah. So there's no gaps there. We've got the wound edges nice and stuck together.
The key now is keeping it this way.
Yeah. Looks to me as if Chris has done a really good job, and fingers crossed the wound will knit back together and we'll fulfill the showing career with Caramel. Thank you very much.
All over to you.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon. I expect a photo of a certain duck with a certain ribbon.
Colour is it? Hopefully a red one. Cheers, thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You could say this visit's all about catching up with Walnut, but you could also say that this visit's about checking her stitches have held. How are you?
All right, very good.
Good to see you.
Come and see the calf again.
Where is she?
Oh, she's here in the pen. You wouldn't know which one it is, would you? No, she's,
There's a lot of heads in troughs.
that's right. She's right back there.
It's been 48 hours since the operation to repair Walnut's hernia. Chris is back to see how Walnut is coping after her life-saving surgery.
Go on, Walnut. I think you've earned this. Come on.
The important test now is to see if she'll start eating.
It's all yours. It's all yours. No strings attached. No, nothing at all. Now there's a good sign. Walnut doesn't just look good today. The moment that head of hers goes into the bucket, you know, she's feeling a lot better too.
With Walnut concentrating on breakfast, Chris can get a close-up look at those stitches.
Well, there's a bit of relief there. All those stitches have held.
Yeah, that's right. It looks a very, nice, clean, smooth wound there, like, isn't it? And, a few days it'll heal out. Chris has definitely earned our approval, and we're very happy with how it's gone, and it looks very successful. So she'll have a good future with us on the farm.
All right.
It's great to see you. Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Right.
Paul.
Thanks a lot.
All the best and everything.
Right.
With Walnut on the mend, Chris is heading north for a few days to the picturesque countryside of Yorkshire.
My dad came and worked in Yorkshire back in the 1960s, and I've always felt compelled to follow that journey 50 years on. So here I am today, back where he started, in Midland. There are a couple of things that Midland does very well. One of them is history, which they have plenty of. The other one is horses. They've got over 600 racehorses here to train in the area.
Today, Chris is catching up with Ben Haslam, a leading trainer at Castle Hill Stables.
All right. Oh, yeah. Come on. How you doing? I met the guard dog. How are you?
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good to see you.
All right.
Good. So you're training a few this morning?
Yeah, we've got a few to go out. The weather's a little bit temperamental, but
I noticed.
yeah, it should be. It should be a good morning.
All right.
There have been racehorses trained in this area for over 200 years. And Chris is just in time to join the training session, heading out to the vast moors surrounding the town.
Pretty amazing when you think that the horses have been walking through these streets for, over 500 years. I mean, it used to be when they had knights on their back, and now it's just jockeys going to training.
Yeah, it's good. It's good practice for them walking through the town. It gets them used to cars, crowds, people. They get more confidence in new surroundings.
So what I see as just being a picturesque spectacle is actually part of the training.
Absolutely, yeah.
I guess it's almost a warm-up too.
Yeah, no, this is good. I mean, the hard surface as well that we're on, this helps the bones develop stronger.
Yeah.
Ben trains over 30 racehorses on the moors, but Chris is here to assess one special mare.
The horse we're particularly interested in today is one called Operator. Now, she's about 5 years old. She's been in training for about 6 months. She's had a few runs recently, but she's preparing for a big one in a couple of weeks. Today's really about making sure she's going to be ready for that.
Maintaining fitness.
I mean, that's a pretty good training run, though, when you're running up a slope into the wind.
Yeah.
But she's going to feel that. So I guess the challenge now is to make sure she's feeling it, but I guess it's not too much of a test for her.
Exactly. She's got her head down, and that hill's really making her work.
Yeah. You can hear her blowing now. Yeah. Oh, I might have a bit of a look at her now. Okay. Yeah, about 180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it's been a good test.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not through the roof, so
yeah.
She's handled that. And yeah, she's breathing up, but there's no abnormal discharges there. She's not bleeding. It's pushed her, but at the same time she's handled it.
She's recovering quite quick, isn't she?
Yeah. You can see the blood vessels are nice and engorged, and she's got good circulation running through her skin there.
And does Chris think Operator is race ready?
Pretty good, mate.
Happy?
Yeah. It's what, 10 days?
10 days.
Race.
Yeah.
No, she's in good nick. She is going to go home sideways, though.
Yeah.
Coming up to the moors was a big part of why I wanted to come to Midland and to Yorkshire. It is a spectacular setting to watch an animal doing something truly amazing, like galloping up here, and to be able to help out Ben in some small way and assess where Operator's at. Yeah, it's special.
Chris has returned to Cornwall from Yorkshire and is heading to see Rachel at the Screech Owl Sanctuary.
Ever get the feeling you're being watched?
This place is a haven for dozens of sick and injured wild owls.
You're Rachel, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, how you going, Chris?
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Now, you've got an owl for me.
Yes, yes. We've got this chap here called Boris.
Yep.
Boris is a Western Siberian eagle owl.
Big Boris is in serious trouble. His right eye isn't functioning properly. The keepers are worried because Boris is one of the sanctuary's longest residents and a star attraction.
He's sort of one of the founding owls of the sanctuary. And about 15 years ago, he famously had a cataract operation. And it was actually the first ever owl cataract operation carried out in the world. So he's quite a celebrity. He's had lots of attention over the years, and we need to look after him. Yeah, come in.
Thank you. I'm guessing he's called Boris because the species is from Russia.
Absolutely,
is that right?
yeah. And we've got Nadia as well.
Chris needs to get a good look at Boris's right eye.
He's got these little sort of bumps of skin in his eyelid on his right eye, and we believe it might be a sort of scratchy feeling on his eye. It definitely seems to irritate him.
So we're going to catch him, don't we, and have a look?
Yeah. Now, do you fancy having a go at that?
Yeah.
OK.
Catching owls has to be done the right way, not just for their safety, but also your own. I mean, if I don't get those claws in the right way, then they can turn around and grab me, and that's not going to tickle.
But Chris has to win over Nadia before he can capture boyfriend Boris.
He's hiding behind his girlfriend now.
Excuse me, Boris, when you're using Nadia as your enforcer, what is going on? Nadia is a serious-looking woman. If there was ever a Bond villain that was an owl, it'd be Nadia. You're quite intimidating, Nadia. Look at you, all fluffed up.
Perhaps if you step to the left, Nadia might actually come down.
Look about that, huh? Look at that. It's amazing, isn't it? Huh? This hand here, yeah?
There we go, that's the way. Now you want to tip him down. That's the, it's backwards, sorry, that's it. So we can get those wings in.
You fell for the old other hand trick, didn't you, Boris?
Yeah,
I think you're better than that. Looking into Boris's eyes, you can see that he has these growths around his right eye, which is starting to really push across his eyeball. And also, the eye isn't comfortable. He blinks a lot, and he just doesn't look happy with it. Anyone that's ever had dirt or sand or even just an eyelash in their eye can tell you that it's incredibly uncomfortable. For Boris, though, this is a round-the-clock issue. That little bubble you're worried about, that area in the corner of his eye,
Yep.
it doesn't seem to move. It's not like it's free floating or anything.
No.
I guess I don't want to muck around with this. Eyes are obviously incredibly important for owls, and I think if we can get him into the vet clinic, have a really good look underneath there to see what's actually happening, make sure there's nothing stuck, and then from there work out a plan.
OK, yeah.
All right, big man, you and me, it's on tomorrow. You OK with that? You look excited. Little wink. I'll take that as a yes.
I think you've bonded now.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't bond with me with those talons.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wearing something warm, and this is Fistral, but I do really get the impression I'm getting stitched up.
The next morning before Chris heads to the surgery, he's been asked to a local beach to meet Dawn and a group of girls from the vet clinic.
What is going on here?
Hi, Chris. So we just want to see how tough Chris can be in the water. It's pretty cold here, not like Australia, so we just want to see how he goes.
He's being challenged to a surf competition where catching waves doesn't matter.
So this is a surf competition where it's not about the points.
Yeah.
It's about how long.
How long you can stay in for.
Over the years, I've been lucky enough to surf in quite a few pretty good surf spots. But there's one thing about those they all have in common. Bondi, 22 degrees. Hawaii, 26-degree water. Fiji, 27 degrees. Today, Cornwall, 9 degrees.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
When you get in the water here, immediately freezing. So we've got a great chance against Chris. I think he's going to lose.
At 9 degrees, lasting more than just a few minutes in this icy water, is going to be a massive test. But the Poms, they're enjoying their day at the beach. After just 5 minutes, the Aussie is almost ready to give up. But he heads back out because he knows his reputation is on the line.
Not even wearing a full wetsuit, no booties. Just like a good game of Ashes cricket. Go through a lot of pain. I don't think I've ever been colder in my life. If that was a surfing competition, I scored a perfect 10. 10 minutes. I think what hurts the most, apart from the cold, is the fact that when the girls get out, they're not even shivering. They're laughing, they're talking, they're reminiscing about the waves they caught. And there's me, shaking like a leaf.
So you got too cold, eh?
There's so much to say about how amazing you guys were out there, but I'm kind of too cold to say it. So. I think when you look at the fact that I'm not wearing a full wetsuit, I think we can safely call it a draw. This isn't shivering, this is just shaking with excitement.
Yeah, right. Chris thinks it's a draw. I think everyone could see that we were.
Let's never talk this moment again. Hello, Rachel. How are you?
You right there, Chris?
I'm good, I'm good.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too. I'm sure Boris feels exactly the same
Yeah.
way. I think this time apart is probably good for us.
Later that morning, Chris has thawed out from his surf, and keeper Rachel has arrived with Boris, the Siberian eagle owl.
The whole idea of getting Boris into the clinic today was to really run some tests and work out exactly what is happening with that eye. We still don't know exactly why those lumps have appeared and why that eye is so sore. Leg. That's something. Yep. Hello, oh yes. It's me again.
The hissing that Boris does is bravado, basically. He's, especially when he sees Chris, now he associates him as a vet, I think. The hissing is basically just a warning.
Okay. All right. I think really the plan initially is to try to give that eye a good flush.
Okay.
Make sure that nothing comes out from inside of it.
Yep.
It's starting to lift up those little growths that we can see.
Yeah.
When I lift up his eyelid and flush essentially under the eye with saline, importantly, nothing comes out. So it's unlikely Boris has had anything stuck in that eye. What I want to do now is just check there's no scratches across his eyeball.
Chris is using a special dye that will help highlight any problem areas on Boris's eye.
The blinds have to come down, the lights have to go off, and I have to get a UV light onto that eye. You can see that there's an area that's really absorbed that stain
Yeah,
quite
definitely.
strongly.
Yeah, quite clearly.
He actually has a corneal ulcer.
Right. Which would explain the irritation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're sore. When that happens, it's very sore.
Right.
This is a big, raging, ugly ulcer, and it would hurt. You always really worry with ulcers simply because the lining of the eyeball is quite thin. It's already been eroded, it already has an infection. If it's left untreated, there is a chance that eyeball, it could burst. Got an eye that has an ulcer.
Yep.
It also has some pretty serious inflammation in the actual eyelid itself.
Yep.
At the Penmelon Clinic, a dye test has revealed what's causing Boris's painful eye condition.
There's one thing that really ties both of those together, and that is a conjunctivitis.
Okay.
So a serious eye infection,
Yeah.
and a chronic one as well. There's no doubt in my mind we need to hit that today with some pretty strong antibiotics.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident that with the right antibiotic ointment, we can actually fix it.
Brilliant.
My worry is that if I do nothing apart from treat this infection, then Boris is still going to have these lumps on his eyelid and they could still cause some sort of irritation. So they have to go. Now, I don't really want to put a 36-year-old bird under general anaesthetic. But what we can do is put some local anaesthetic into his eye
Okay.
and then burn them off
Right.
with him fully awake.
Okay. Chris is going to be using a highly powered cauterising tool within millimetres of Boris's eye, and obviously we don't want to make that ulcer any worse or cause any more damage. So yeah, I am a little bit nervous.
First, the anaesthetic drops have to go in. Then Boris has to be securely wrapped. Chris is using a cauteriser to burn off the excess skin.
Be incredibly careful to remove the lumps, but at the same time, not damage Boris's eyelid, because that will hurt once the local anaesthetic wears off. This one's a little bit more tricky. There's just one more in the corner here.
Yep. He didn't even flinch either,
No, he
which is
didn't.
brilliant.
Okay, so it's going to feel a little bit gravelly.
Yeah.
You can imagine if you had a little scar on the inside of your eyelid, you'd feel it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's going to be on antibiotic drops.
Yeah.
And they're going to be a bit of a lubricant for that eye as well. It's kind of funny that it's taken an Australian to fix a Russian bird in England, but hopefully, now that he is fixed, his future is going to be a lot less complicated. Not that he's showing his appreciation. You're not thrilled with me, are you? As far as you're concerned, I can go right back to Australia right now.
Oh, yeah.
Seagull, huh?
Absolutely. Oh! You don't want to get your fingers too close to a seagull.
Don't do that back home unless it's a chip.
What are you doing? You will. You have to be a bit careful.
So what's next for me?
Well, the Cornwall Seal Sanctuary would like a vet to go and have a look at 2 seals that they have. They've been caught up in recent storms and they want to release them. And we wondered if you want to go down and have a look for them.
Just check out if they're ready to go.
Absolutely.
All right, I can do that.
All right.
If it gets me away from this one, I'm in for anything.
Yeah, just be careful as you turn.
All right, thank you.
See you later, Chris.
Okay. A few months ago, this area got absolutely hammered by some pretty serious storms, and seals really bore the full brunt of it. So hopefully today we're going to see evidence they have recovered.
Chris is meeting with Jenny from the Cornish Seal Sanctuary. She's one of the carers helping nurse injured seals back to health.
So these storms were pretty full on, right?
Yeah, they were really bad. Pups just don't stand a chance. They're so small and they're trying to feed. Tides are really high and then the waves are getting really high.
They just become exhausted, do they?
Yeah, and then they're also getting bashed against rocks.
Which of the 2 we're hoping to release today?
The one at the back there, just bobbing up and down, that's Rose. And then this one here that's just laying out on the side of the pool, this is Mercury.
The 2 seals that I'm looking at today were both found on beaches, incredibly malnourished and on the brink of death. These guys were quite skinny when they first came in?
Yeah, they both were, yeah.
I mean, they look like they put on a bit of condition.
Yes, they have, yeah. I mean, they need to be between 35 and 40 kilos before we can release them.
The plan now is to fully drain the pool so Chris can get a closer look at these 2 Atlantic grey seals.
They're very at home, swimming around in the sea and in the pool. So once you've got rid of that water, they do feel very vulnerable. So us going in there, they're going to get quite aggressive. Okay, let's go.
Everyone thinks that seals are all cute and cuddly, but they do sometimes have a darker side. Watch your manners.
Chris and Jenny need to corral both Mercury and Rose into a cage for the all-important weigh-in.
See if we can get that one in the corner. There we go. Just close the lid.
Mercury is first on the scales.
Okay, we put this bar in and then just kind of lift it up. She feels a bit big.
Good news. 51 kilos. And
The cage weighs 14, so 41, 37?
37 kilos.
That's good, bang on. Okay.
Now Mercury's done, it's time for Rose.
We need to
Get moving.
get a wiggle on. Good girl. There we go.
All right, let's get the weight.
Yep, 2, 3. Oh, she feels bigger as well.
54 kilos.
So she's 40 kilos. Good girl.
So she gets the tick as well.
She does.
Hear that? You're going home.
Chris and the team need to move fast.
Right now, we're actually running out of time because we have to release these guys on a high tide. High tide has just passed. We have to get to the beach as quick as we can.
Hold on tight, baby seals.
Bit of a bump here, guys. Hold on. Yeah. See? It's been a wild ride, huh? Lucky you got that inbuilt padding.
In Cornwall, Chris has just given rescue seals Mercury and Rose a clean bill of health.
You see their faces. They're just getting excited now.
And finally, after months of rehabilitation, it's time for them to be released back into the wild.
The really special thing for me is you look into those big eyes of theirs and they're suddenly wider than they ever have been before. Their nostrils are flaring. They know they're home and it looks like they can't wait to get in the water. This is the end of a pretty amazing journey.
But this is what it's all for, you know, all those long days and 6 o'clock starts and midnight feeds. This is it. This is the best part, to get them back out in the sea.
Are you ready to say goodbye?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. My job here is to essentially act as a bit of a human shield to try to stop them from going back up the beach. Sometimes they're a bit confused and they go the wrong way. Time to show off that new body. Can we hit the beach? What are you guys waiting for?
Making an assessment, aren't you?
You're a bit sensitive about showing off the beach body? Don't be, you look fantastic. When we open the trailer, there's a lot of looking around, a lot of looking at each other going, well, what do we do next?
Here she goes.
You're ready, aren't you?
Come on, babe.
You're more than ready.
Good girl.
Finally, they make the decision to go for it. And when they do, there's a whole lot of bouncing, a whole lot of sliding across the rocks. Finally, they make it to the water. That is amazing.
There you go. Both together.
I've only come into Mercury and Rose's life right at the end of their hospital stay, but even for me, to be here on this beach now and seeing them released, it still feels incredibly special to me. So I can't imagine how Jenny's feeling right now.
It's quite emotional.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's the whole reason that we do the job that we do, is to, you know, rescue them, make them better, and then get them back where they belong. And it just makes everything worthwhile, and it's where they should be. They should be back out in the wild. So to see them swimming around is amazing.
Little head popping up to say goodbye.
Yeah, little head. They don't always look back. Some of them look back.
You know it means something when they look back.
Yeah.
Incredible.
This makes it all worthwhile.
It's very special, thank you.
It's cool. Thank you for helping.
It's finish time. I'm out of here. So really, all there is for me to do is say my goodbyes. Owls, seals, cows.
Yep.
You know what the hardest thing of all was, though?
What's that?
Your cold water.
Thick wet seats, that's what you need.
No, more Cornish pasties.
Probably.
More padding.
It's what the rest of us do.
Seriously though, thank you.
No problems. We really enjoyed it. It's good having you here.
We'd happily have Chris back in Cornwall anytime.
If things don't work out in Bondi, I'll be straight back out of here.
Might hold you to it.
Hey, thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right, take care.
All right,
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.
Working in England, it had always been a big dream of mine. While calf surgery can be uplifting, you can't keep a good walnut down for long.
Excellent.
Boris the owl was sent from Russia with love and kept an eye on me constantly. You're not thrilled with me, are you? And show champion ducks
You're doing good.
can put you in a sticky situation. But above all else, I learnt that the working life of a vet in England, it can send a shiver down your spine and grab you in ways you never expected.
This makes it all worthwhile.
Hi, I'm Dr. Danny Dusek from Bondi Vet. If you love our show and want to see more, plus some amazing content about pets and how to care for them, hit the subscribe button. Click that little notification bell and we'll see you on our next video.